Hi everyone. Okay, so welcome back. And as you can see, we're back now in our living room scene, aren't we? So in here, we'll be able to carry on with the enhancements to the blueprints we've already added into the scene. Do you remember we added the lamp, didn't we? Over here, and we also added the lampshade too. We added the interaction through the first person with the click of the mouse, didn't we? Was it the right click? Which we also did by a keyboard function as well. I think it was F or G. So we've already looked at that, and now we'll have the opportunity to enhance it. Now I've already added these features in that we looked at in the previous class, just to speed things up a little bit. I've created the character interaction just the same way that we did in the lesson before. Okay. So now I've included the interaction. That's all done. And let me press play so you can see it. I've also added here a crosshair too. And when we get to the class on widgets, we're going to show you exactly how this crosshair is made. Okay, so don't worry about it for now. I just thought it's helpful for us to put it in at this stage, just so we can see where we're pointing. Okay, but how we made it, we'll definitely go into doing that. I just didn't want to discuss that now and just confuse everything, especially with the direction that we're progressing in the course. So we'll definitely come back to how to do that. Key thing here is when you're pointing at objects, you can use the crosshair to make sure you're actually pointing at the right object. Okay, so we'll look at that later on. So first things first then, let's work with our lampshade. It's important to remember that for every blueprint, you want to have this interaction attached, and you also need to have a collision. Just like in the autofocus lessons, the object mesh must have a collision too, because it must be hit so that the object's detected. So it's important to have that collision set up. Sometimes everything is working and one specific blueprint isn't. So just check the collision first, because that can be a simple detail that will make it a lot easier for us to find what the error is. Okay. All right, we'll be working with the lampshade first then, right? We need to open the blueprint. Oh, and one interesting thing is that in case you have several different blueprints, okay, let's suppose you get quite a lot, you might then start to get lost within your scene. If you need to open a blueprint that you clicked on, you can come to world settings and you can see it listed there. To the right, it says edit BP. So I can click on that and I'll be able to edit the blueprint. Now, another way you can do this is you can come to, I believe it's still in Unreal Engine 5. It's there in version 4. So in Engine 5, you can click here as well, but also up here under the details panel, this little button here allows you to, you see that it says open blueprint editor? It allows you to open the editor in just the same way. So now that we're in our blueprint, just like we did in our previous class, we were using the F key here, weren't we? Now we won't be needing that anymore, and we won't be needing the enable input anymore because we don't have the keyboard interaction anymore. So we can just delete that, and we'll interact through the blueprint interface through our character instead. Okay? So first thing we need to do in this blueprint, since it's a receiver, it should also have the same implanted interface. Okay? The same Wi-Fi connection, so to speak, from the sender. And in this case, our sender is the first person, isn't it? Our blueprint ArcViz character, which I've already implanted here. Okay, so that's going to do that function, but we need to also implant this to the other blueprint too. So let's go to class settings and we'll add a BP character interact, which is our interface, and compile and save just so it can register everything. And now all you have to do is to create an event. I'll create an interaction event or event interact. Okay, this one here, event interact. Please notice that it has been given this little icon here, hasn't it, for blueprint interface. So now at least we know it's going to be linked. We connect that to our flip-flop, so it should be active now. And let's come a little bit closer. Now we point to the light and click, and the lights are on. See that? Working perfectly now. So it's detected it straight away, especially with the crosshair. It's a lot easier, isn't it, for us to aim at the object we want. And our line trace is doing that through the crosshair too, pointing right in the center of the screen. Cool. So as I click, it turns on and it turns off when I click again. It's important, isn't it, to get all that set up that way, but it's quite useful for us to be able to click rather than use a keyboard function. Thinking back to the blueprint actor and the class topic, if I copy this blueprint, now I've got another actor, haven't I? I've got BP lamp 2. So if I push play, notice now that in the scene, it works perfectly since I applied the same. So because of the way this is set up, you can just copy the blueprint. You just need to do one and then copy it and put it wherever you want in the scene, and it will detect it and turn it on and off, no matter where the actor is. Okay? So I'm sure you can see the benefit of doing it that way. Looking good, isn't it? Nice. So it's a really useful method, this, recognizing the message that we're sending to it, and then it's performing that action. Cool. It actually looks really cool, that slight adjustment in lighting when it turns off. So that's a really simple blueprint to put in your arsenal of skills. Cool. So let's move on a little bit further. Let's do the same thing then with the chandelier. Now we've got to grips with how to do it with our lampshade. Let's go over to our chandelier now. I'll open up the blueprint. Let's do it this way. Open blueprint editor. Cool. So you can see how we've got the light set up already made. We don't need this, do we? We can delete that, and we can delete enable input and go to class settings and make sure we've got our interface, BP character interface connected. There we go. And like I said before, it's just like, connecting to the same Wi-Fi, speaking the same language. And now I need to add the function, the interaction event, which is this one here, and plug it into the flip-flop, compile and save. And now we have our blueprint for a chandelier. Let's test it out. So we aim at it and click, turns on. Awesome. See how much easier it is to create it through interactions now, right? It all depends on the character there, doesn't it? It's the making sure we got the character all set up properly. And this is a great way to interact within ArcViz scenes. Hopefully you can see how else you can use this within your projects. And of course, we'll explore other ways in which we can include this later on. So in the next chapter, in the next couple of classes, we'll continue with our understanding of blueprints and how we can use them in ArcViz. We'll continue to use our interface as well. So we only need to add the interface to the blueprint, add the event, and make sure each blueprint's connected in the right way and set up, okay? But feel free, okay, to test this, what we're showing you here, to explore how else you could implement it. Because obviously we're just looking at lighting in this stage. The same principle can be applied in many other use cases. And yeah, so I hope this has been helpful for you. So that's it then. This is what we had planned for this class. Until the next chapter and the next class, when we will get to create even more things. Take care, and we'll see you soon.